day, everybody. I'm Zach Cohen. This is Zach Cohen Live. And we talk all kinds of different things: music, fishing, outdoors, wildlife, whatever else that you might find interesting. We're just getting things set up. Again, I'm Zach Cohen. And let's see here. I'm going to make sure everything's looking right. And we got audio. So, today we are talking fishing and fly fishing, all things fishy. So, my history with fishing is all of my youth. I was taken fishing by my uncle. I was taken fishing by my stepdad, by my dad. We went anywhere and everywhere that we could, fishing the boundary waters in Minnesota, to just walleye trolling in North Dakota, and anywhere else that we could find that we thought was a good place to fish. Hey, Lisk. Thanks for stopping in. Let's see. Good afternoon. And so, anyways, for fishing, for me though, it's been a lifelong thing that I've been a student of, is how I would put it. I've been a student of fishing for many, many years. And the reason I say that is this: you can learn something new every day about fishing, different ideas, different ways to tie knots, different ways to fish a lure. It took me many years to become really successful with fishing, and to the extent now where there's the rare day is that I don't catch a fish. So I like to call myself a catcherman. And that led me to guiding fishing in Estes Park, Colorado, where we had, I had around 1,000 clients or so that I took fishing out in Rocky Mountain National Park and Indian Peaks Wilderness, all over Colorado. I was known for taking clients up to alpine lakes, places that a lot of people don't go because it's a long hike. We were fishing at elevations above 10,000 feet. And I would take clients to places that nobody had gone fishing before. Well, I shouldn't say it like that. Rarely fished lakes. I would say maybe a couple dozen people would try to fish these lakes in the summertime months. And it's changed a lot out in that area after the fires have come through. A lot of the rivers and streams that we were fishing consistently had some pretty heavy soot build up in the riverbeds themselves, and made it for a lot harder fly fishing. But going back to my youth and walleye trolling, I spent every day of the summer that I could, when we weren't in the combine or in a tractor farming, because I grew up farming, we would get up as early as we could in the morning, try to get up before 6 a.m. and get out to the lake, do some walleye trolling. We used bottom bouncers. They're a springy weighted leader attachment that would go in between your line and your leader, as walleye will cut through your fishing line. I had to get me some sparkling water, mineral water. It's my favorite thing to really get into. But I don't exactly remember how old I was when I learned to tie a rapala knot. Gosh, I would have been maybe 10 years old or younger. I don't really remember for sure. It's been quite a while. But, there is a time when that's the only way that I would tie my knots. We always used open reels. I rarely used bait casters. I don't know why, to be honest. I think that was just a preference of my stepdad and my dad. And so we did. And it was good fishing. we seem to catch something almost every day. My cousin Justin, now he also did some fishing guiding with a camp. I can't remember exactly where, but man, we'd take him fishing and it would be insane. He'd always catch, and I used to be jealous of that. And then I realized that it's a lot of technique, little things, little intricacies about the way that you fish that really make the difference in whether you're successful or not. You know, rigging a jig, like we would walleye troll, and he would throw a jig on behind his bottom bouncer, and he'd pull a jig. And I always thought that was pretty wild, but he'd throw a leech on it, and I thought, well, okay, it's a leech. And so yeah, that's what we did. We fished with leeches and worms, mostly leeches though, and we seemed to catch a lot of walleye that way. And we'd fish out that was at Jamestown Reservoir, and we'd fish at Pipestem Reservoir as well. And then, in my teens, we got out to Lake Sakakawea. That's how North Dakota locals said it anyways. I don't know if that's a correct pronunciation or not. But it was something that I always look forward to. And then in the winter months in North Dakota, we would go ice fishing. And we always had an ice house out on the reservoir, right below my step-grandparents' house. And we'd always set it up on a little shoal that went into the water, I don't know, 30, 40 yards off of the shore itself. But every now and then it would flood and it'd be further out, and then dry years it was pretty close. But there's a nice underwater mound of soil that seemed to catch good flows, and so we always seem to catch fish in those areas. We like to fish rocky bottom lakes, and Spiritwood Lake is where I started fly fishing in North Dakota. So I was one of these kids that didn't know any better, and I just got one of those fly rods. And we'd go out to Spiritwood Lake, and I would fly fish for rock bass. It was always fun because I would tie up poppers. I don't know if you've seen poppers. Let me see if I can pull up some of these. I'll pull up some of these images. All right, let's see here. There we go. So here's bass poppers. Let me see. I'm going to move me over here. Okay, there we go. All right. So yeah, these are nicely tied poppers. I don't know where this one comes from. Oh, these are Orvis brand. Yeah, so Orvis does a pretty good selection of decently tied poppers. Let's see what else is there. That's a nice tiger. That looks like something that I would have tied. So this is a foam body right in here. And these are just rubber legs. It's a nylon rubber leg. And this one looks like it has some foil in there, some tinsel. Here's a nice one that looks like it was tied by someone on their own. Yeah, I like how they put the eye in there. There you go. There's the theory behind it. So a popper sits on top of the water, and you sort of just slowly jig it in. Try to get the bass's attention. Rock bass are a lot of fun to catch. It seems like... Oh, here we go. I don't want to do that. But yeah, so they're feisty little things. And they didn't just go after poppers. They would go after copper beadhead flies. Let's see if I can find something. Yeah, just little things like this. Copper johns. And they would go nuts over these things. They were a lot of fun to catch. And so that's actually copper wire there wrapped around. It looks like it's a fully curved. So that would be a nymph hook. And then you have a gold bead head there. That looks like ostrich herl and maybe a little bit of... Yeah. And these are, looks like goose biot. A tail. So a biot tail, copper round. And they're just tiny little things. That's actually, so that's showing a number 14, but they would get down to the size of a number 22, 20. Really, really difficult to get onto your line unless you're using really thin line. In fly fishing, we call it tippet. Here's a bars. See, I like how they've, so this has a UV resin coating on top of it here. I like the way that UV resin flashes colors underwater and when the sun's reflecting on. Oh, here we go. And this one's got some tinsel across the top of it. That's underneath UV resin. Looks like black and olive green wire. Another goose bite, rubber legs. That one almost looks like it's got a beaver fur in it. Well, that's a gnarly looking one. Rubber leg copper john steelhead. There it focused in. That looks pretty cool. I think that would catch some fish. I like that, how they have they've got a gold bead head here with the disco balls, is what I call them, disco ball heads. I don't know what they're actually called, to be honest. Let's see. John Green. So these look like they all have a common green piece of tinsel running across the top. So that flash of color, you call it a hotspot, whatever you want to call it, that really seems to grab attention. And then the wire itself is weighted. There's probably lead or non-lead wrap is what's more commonly used now. But for the longest time, hooks were weighted with lead, including fly hooks. And fly tires will just wrap that around the body of the shank of the hook, and then put their dubbing and everything else over the top of it. Actually, I'll see if I can get up a. Let me see. I have a reel that I put out. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I do a lot of fly tying on my own. I'm really proud of this hook. So I was the first person to use this, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, let me see. So this is what I called the cat caddis. Let me see if I. And that's what I called the cat caddis. Cased alien tape. So alien tape itself is here. I talk about it right here. Might as well just let it go. So yeah, so that was the cat caddis. I've got some other fly tying videos, but one of these days I'll make a video of all my fly tying setup. I've found a really, really nice fly tying box, fly tying station, all handmade woodworking with maple and walnut and turquoise inlay. It has compartments for everything. It's just gorgeous, and then my vise sits right on top of it, so it's really cool to work with. I've done a number of videos with that, but I'll get that out one of these days. And hopefully we'll have some fly fishing videos soon if this weather would ever change, and hopefully anyone that's affected by the weather that's been going through is doing okay. I saw today that FEMA is out helping or trying to help, and I know for certain that there's a number of different private groups that are helping out over in the Mid-Eastern states, I guess, more or less. Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Iowa, Illinois, Tennessee. Yeah, a lot of places have been hit. So this is a rainbow. This is really cool. So that's a tinsel wrap on the back of the shank there. Looks like I think those are probably pheasant feathers. So that's a pheasant tail. I don't really know how to explain that except for on the what fly tyers do is they'll take these feathers individually off of a feather itself, and they'll tie them onto the shank of the hook and make them look like that. And goose bite is just a heavier feather, usually off of primary or secondaries. So yeah, let's see here. Change that over. Cool. One of these days, though, I'll definitely get that fly fishing stuff out. Let me see if I can find some videos. I know I was looking up here. So I'm getting the itch to get out fly fishing, that's for certain. Might as well take a minute to thank you for stopping by and checking it out. Make sure to grab a sub. Hit that like button. It helps me share this content with more people interested in the same things that you're interested in. Alright, let's see here. Oh, this one's cool. Let's see. So yeah, bringing in a nice brown here. A good friend of mine from Estes Park, Colorado puts out a lot of cool video too. Let me see if I can find his. Let's see. I think he's in here. Oh yeah, that's right. He's on Instagram. I'm pretty sure I follow him. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Yes, not that one. And then I want to talk a little bit about another friend of ours that is a fly fishing guide. Let me see. I'll pull up this first one. Where'd he go? Here we go. So Instagram username is Shredhead Powhound. I think he's got some fly fishing videos in here. Yeah, here we go. Let me see. I'll pull that back up here. All right, so we might as well talk about. So these are all trout. This is a really, really nice brook. That's a nice brookie. Or he got it. No, I'm sorry. That is a greenback. That's a greenback cutthroat. And this is a baby rainbow. It might be a cutthroat too. Yeah, actually, that is a cutthroat. That's a baby cutthroat right there. Yeah. He's got some cut bows. Yeah, another nice looking one. Wow. He's been getting out fishing up in some higher elevation alpine lakes. You know, these fish. And so here's a fly that he tied of his own. But yeah, these fish up in those alpine lakes rarely see fishermen at all, or flies. So when they see these big, juicy looking imitation flies, they just go crazy over them. So it's really good fishing. Often, you almost always catch something, which is really cool. And it's just a lot of fun. So I used to guide up there, and like I was saying, there's another guide that I wanted to talk about. He started this organization called Fish for Change. Let me see if I can pull that up here. fishforchange.org. So he goes by Brownie in Colorado. He's a really, really well-known guide here. I'll pull it up. So this is fishforchange.org. And they're education, conservation, exploration minded. So they're fly fishing out in the Caribbean here. It's pretty cool images. Let me see here. They're in the process of raising $10,000 for scholarships right now. So if you happen to come across this, make sure that you take a look at this website. Again, it's fishforchange.org. They are in Honduras, the Bahamas, Mexico, Colorado, and Costa Rica. Let's see what the Colorado does here. Gunnison River student programs. I think that might be. No, that's not Brownie. That's another guide out of Colorado, though. This is Gunnison Canyon and Gunnison River. There's Brownie. So yeah. And then he founded this group called Fly Fish Guanaja. I think. I'll pull that up here. And this is still part of the same thing, Fish for Change. But this is really cool because I'll read you this story. So it goes, fish stories are really just human stories with fish swimming through them. Fly Fish Guanaja is a story of families and friends that have grown together over thousands of days on the water. Tourism was starting to take off in Guanaja a few years before Hurricane Mitch put a stop to it all in 1998. Hurricane Mitch was so powerful, it even destroyed the mangrove system. Mangroves are a really, really important part of the brackish water habitat. So that's where saltwater and freshwater come together. And he goes on to say every hotel blew down or shut down and the island sat quiet for 10 years. In 2008, a pack of Colorado fly fishing guides led by Stephen Brownie first set foot on Guanaja to explore the fishery a few weeks before the first clients arrived. Destiny led Brownie to Guanaja through backpacking in Central America with a fly rod in between guiding and teaching in Colorado. Stephen teamed up with Scotty Duncan, who had a passion for reforesting Guanaja's mangrove system. Together they brought the first glimmer of hope to bring back tourism and help regrow the mangroves with Fly Fish Guanaja. Steve and Scotty collected deposits from the first guests and built the first flats penga. No problema, Scotty's connection to the little volcanic island on the north side of Guanaja called Black Rock led to renting our first lodge. Black Rock had comfortable cabanas and came with our first guides and cooks who still work for Fly Fish Guanaja today. It goes on to talk about over the years he's worked with the Honduran government and the island of Guanaja to implement this fishing resort. Essentially, it's a private island, and it's staffed by all locals. So Brownie didn't want it to just become another American paradise place where just a bunch of non-residents came in and would take over the guiding scene in the tourism industry. And I've seen that happen in Colorado, and I'm sure he has as well. There's a lot of people that come into Colorado from out of state every summer to guide on waters there, and a lot of the local guides are sort of becoming extinct, to be honest. It's become so cutthroat, and that's not an intended pun at all, that I've had clients out on the water and had another guide come after me. I'm fishing on public water, by the way, mind you. So it's insane. But, these people come from everywhere to make their living, and they only work the summer months up there, and then they leave. And that is something that Brownie didn't want to see happen in Guanaja. And they spent most of their time down here. So bonefish is the big deal to fly fish for out in the flats out there. Bonefish is pound for pound the strongest fish in the world. So the fight on these things is incredible. And I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to take people, to take guests fly fishing here. So at some point, I'll have some footage of that as well. And that'll be really, really cool. And I'll have my guitar and I'll play a little bit of music. But yeah, so, I have a long history of fishing. And I really, that my connection to nature all stems from that. I really do think. I grew up hunting as well, bow hunting, rifle hunting. My last deer that I took in Colorado before I left Estes Park I took with my, it was actually a long colt, so at about 150 yards. That was quite the shot. I'm pretty proud of that one. Oh, let's see. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. So yeah, if you get the opportunity, check out Fly Fish Guanaja, fishforchange.org. Like I said, that gives good opportunities to kids that are not, would otherwise not have the opportunity to get out and do these kinds of things. Fishing is expensive anymore. There's a lot of places that have become private water. In Colorado, in particular, the landowners own the land underneath the water. So if a river crosses onto private property, it's private unless you float on it. And if you step foot on the ground, then you're technically trespassing. So that can get a little bit hairy. You have to be careful about that. But let's see. Here's a cool picture. Well, here's a nice brown trout. And I was going to look on here. So personally, I've used Fish Pond for as long as they've been around. Let's see if I can find them. Well, I know they're on Instagram. Let's see if we can pull something up here on them. There we go. So Fish Pond USA, they make all of their stuff out of recycled materials, which I've always appreciated. And this looks like a nice duffel. This is a bug out bag is what they call it. There's some more photos of this. So this is their fly tying travel kit, essentially. And I love that there's a bunch of Ziploc baggies in there. I have so many different types of fly fishing materials, fly tying materials. That's a nice one. The meat locker. I think I have one of these. And they're using a pile of streamers in here. These are all streamers. Streamers are a little bit different to fish with. So what do we got here? Looks like they're fishing in Colorado in here. Yeah, Mabel. And so this is pretty cool. This looks like it was shot with an anamorphic lens, just like the one I got. I'm really excited to use that. We're going to have a lot of footage. Oh yeah, so this is this is beautiful fishing out here. This is the Yampa River. That's a lot of fun. One of the things that I particularly like about Fish Pond was the first ones to come out with these nets like you see here, where they had the mesh material is made out of silicone or something like that. So your hooks don't get caught in it. And if you've ever fished with a regular net and you have a decent hook, you know that they get caught up in there, man. Like treble hooks are insane trying to get out of a regular net. I've cut so many nets trying to get a hook out and then fixed them up. That's a nice brown trout. I think I have a fish. I think I have a net just like that. Yeah, more streamers. These are all leeches. You see all the tinsel on there. It's crazy that this is what fish go after, but man, they go crazy over these things. Here's bonefish in the Caribbean. Yeah, salt flats. Looks like they're redfish fishing here. And see, that's just, fishing just doesn't happen in this weather. I've gone fishing. I took a client out fishing. They came through Colorado in February, I think, and they wanted to go fishing. And then I got a call to take him out as a guide, and that was the first time I ever broke a fly rod. It got so cold, the rod was essentially frozen and broke in half. So that was handy to have that happen out there. Let me see here. I'm going to shut the volume off on that. There we go. It is beautiful, isn't it? I can't wait to get out fishing, man. This is making me. All right. More saltwater fly fishing. Let me see here. I'm going to put this back over here, and I have some video that I wanted to show. Anyway, let me see. Let me get this up real quick, and then I'll... Yeah, so this is... Okay, so this is in Wild Basin, Colorado. Here we go. And I found myself often in places that you probably wouldn't normally jump over to try fish. But these little pockets, those eddies back here in these corners, there's some big fish that hang out in these areas. And I caught a lot of really good sized trout in those types of swells. Let me see if I can get up another one. Okay, here we go. So in this one, this is in Horseshoe Park in Rocky Mountain National Park. If you see in the background here, there's a bunch of elk. And this was common. I would take clients out fishing out in these areas, and we'd have a herd of elk or moose. Sometimes we'd see a bear. Never did see a mountain lion. Not once in all of the guiding that I did in Colorado did we ever see a mountain lion. It would have been really cool to see one with clients, but maybe then not. I don't know. It seems some people just get really freaked out by that kind of thing. And let's see here. And if you've ever, I don't know if, let me see. Let me get rid of that. If you ever have the opportunity to hop onto my website, and I'll put that in the chat here. I've done freelance writing throughout the years as well as write music and other things. But on my blogs section of my website, I've written a couple articles for outdoor magazines. Let me see if I can get that up here. So yeah, here's my website, zachcohen.com. And right there on the blog, published works, elk moose, ungulates of Rocky Mountain National Park, and winter fly fishing in the Rockies. And this is actually an article that I wrote about fishing with that same Fred, Shredhead Powhound, on Instagram. And it goes a little something like this. While most fly fishermen take the winter to tie flies or rest from the long fly fishing season, there are those intrepid fishermen braving the cold while honing their fishing skill. Though there are challenges of winter fishing in Rocky, they will seek to find a section of river that has open pockets of water. These open pockets of water are scattered throughout the area. Most mornings on an outing for a day of fishing are chilly, seemingly to remind oneself of the weather that is threatening to cross the divide, causing a sudden snow squall. The wind begins to blow with ferocity that could knock most down. The temperatures drop rapidly and forces most fishermen out of the water. However, in the moments between a few gusts of wind, there is opportunity to drop a fly exactly right in front of a trout that has shown itself from the slightest movement. And it goes on from there. The thing about fishing, well, fly fishing in particular, though, is, it isn't just drop a line in the water and hope that you catch a fish. Really, really good fly fishermen will find the fish before they even drop a fly. And that's important to remember. Every time you pass a fish with a fly, if it's poorly dropped or if it's not behaving properly in the water, you want to be certain that you have the best opportunity to catch that fish, because if it gets spooked, there's a high probability it won't even go for a bite. So as you're walking along the bank of the river, or if you're in the water, hopefully you have some polarized sunglasses. It makes a huge difference. I know that it's probably I don't know, maybe it seems like a fad with fishermen, but with polarized sunglasses and the right type of polarization, you can see through the water surface, so you don't have any of the surface glare. And most of the time you can actually see the fish under the water, anywhere from 3 to 5 feet, depending on the glasses that you have. Personally, I've always used Smith sunglasses, and if you've seen photos of me, you've seen me with these on. So it makes a huge difference. So when you're walking, or when you're approaching the trout that you spot, you're casting just past it and letting it float downstream, hence fly fishing. So if you pay attention on the river, you'll notice that bugs drop on the water and they just sort of float with the water as they're whatever eating or drinking or whatever that particular bug is doing. And sometimes it's just an unlucky jump from a grasshopper, which we call hoppers, just hoppers. Hopper imitations are a lot of fun to fish with. They're big, they're easy to see on top of the water, and you can usually catch a good number of trout on them. Let me see. There's a few others in here. Oh, this is really pretty here. I'm going to bring this up here. Let's see where they're fishing here. They don't have a location, but that's definitely mangroves. So this could even be South America. The salmon run looks like Alaska, I guess. Bristol Bay. It is exactly what it is. I heard some pretty awful things about Bristol Bay recently. Well, I mean, not necessarily awful. Let me pull that up here. But the fish hatchery there, the natural fish hatchery in Bristol Bay, seems like it is threatened. Yeah, here we go. SaveBristolBay.org. The proposed Pebble mine was denied, but Bristol Bay isn't safe yet. On Wednesday, November 25th, 2020, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers denied the key federal permit for the proposed Pebble mine. However, without community-supported long-term protections in place, Bristol Bay remains an open target for pebble and other hard rock mining proposals. But if you look here, look at all these salmon. That's insane. So these are all broody males. All those bright red. That's really cool looking. I caught a broody brown trout in Lake Estes once. It was the biggest one I'd ever caught out there. It was like 28 inches long. It was insane. But they grow these gnarly beaks like you can see on these salmon. But trout and salmon are similar. They're salmonids. They're in the same family of species or family of fish. Permit denied. It is gorgeous out there. And we've been talking about touring Alaska, and I don't know how I would keep myself from fishing instead of playing music. That would be difficult. But we'll see what happens. It's not for certain yet. What we do know for certain about my album and what we're going to be doing with that is we will be in Arizona working with Cal-Am Resorts next season from September to April. So that'll be pretty cool. Let's see what Sea Bristol Bay is. Oh, cool. Got a video in here. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Salmon country, Bristol Bay, Alaska. Look at all this salmon. That's insane. I can't imagine dropping a fly out in the middle of that. So there you can see the male and female separate. Kodiak. I'm going to get rid of that. There we go. Now you can really see it. Looks really nice now. All right. Now, I think it should be on. So anyways, what I was saying is I thought I would play a little bit of music. This is Rest of Our Days off of my first album, Good Day. Time just slips away. Why do we focus on pain? You here by my side, your eyes so full and bright, reminds me how hard we've tried. 'Cause I know now what I've been searching for. Hearts combined with open doors, and if we try, we'll find a way to be happy and joyous always. The rest of our days, the rest of our days. Our days, yeah, the rest of our days. Yeah, the rest of our days. Children laugh and they'll cry, and one day they'll see just why all these choices that we made. Seems unfair for the time. Our babies will be just fine, and we'll be fighting side by side. 'Cause I know now what I've been searching for. Two hearts combined with open doors, and if we try, be happy and joyous always. The rest of our days, the rest of our days. Yeah, the rest of our days. Know how these years go by. We're finding out who we're meant to be. The sun might shine for the greatest days we will ever see. Said, oh, how these years go by. We're finding out just who we're meant to be. 'Cause one day the sun might shine, greatest days we were meant to see. The rest of our days, say the rest of our days, yeah, the rest of our days. Our days. Oh, thank you, Liz. That's Rest of Our Days off of the album. And I'm going to play that here just because we did a lot of really cool things in this recording. So let me see what we've got here. Full screen. Just give me a second here and I'll get this playing. And Let's see. Really love the steel guitar that he's got going on in this. Seth did a really, really great job with steel and Weisenborn. Is it not playing? Yeah, nice. Let me see. I'll try this again.
For the greatest days we will ever see.
Okay, now I think it should. Let me know if you guys hear it playing. This is Rest of Our Days. You can hear my bird in the background too. He likes it. His little love bird. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know. I had something set up fun there.
Been a long, hard day. Time just slips away. Why do we focus on the pain? You here by my side, your eyes so full and bright, reminds me how hard we've tried. I know now what I've been searching for. Two hearts combined with open doors. And if we try, we'll find a way to be happy and joyous always. The rest of our days. see just why all these choices that we've made. It seems unfair for the time. Our babies will be just fine. We'll be fighting side by side. I know now what I've been searching for. Two hearts combined with open doors. And if we try, we'll find a way to be happy and joyous always. The rest of our days, the rest of our days, yeah, the rest of our days. Know how these years go by. We're finding out who we're meant to be. And one day the sun might shine on the greatest days we will ever see. Oh, how those years go by. We're finding out who we're meant to be. 'Cause one day the sun might shine on the greatest days we were meant to see. The rest of our days, yeah, the rest of our days, yeah, the rest of our days. The rest of our days.
Let me see here. Thank you very much, Kangaroo. Yeah, so I haven't found Lookner until more recently. I found Agenda Free TV first, and then found Lookner. So that was, and I just enjoy the community. It's a good group of people. Sometimes the chat gets a little bit saucy, but oh well. They have a lot of really great mods in there. He does a really good job. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll be right back. He sent us something pretty cool. I got some Lookner stuff. Actually, I take that back. I think it's in the laundry right now. So I will not be able to pull that out today. But on the next one, I'll definitely bring out my Lookner swag. It was pretty cool. So tell me about fishing in Australia. What is that like? I'm gonna see if I can find anything. I'll wait to hear from Kangaroo. In the meantime, I'm trying to pull up this. So he says he's on Kangaroo Island, South Australia. Maybe Kangaroo Island fishing. Oh wow. So saltwater fishing. Let's see. Gummy shark. I said this is what I'm finding on Google. The almighty Google is speaking. Let's see. Gummy shark, school shark, kingfish, flathead, harlequin fish. I've actually caught a harlequin. King George whiting. Caught some whiting. Swallowtail. Interesting. I've never caught a swallowtail. I'm going to have to look that up. And this just looks like a lot of fun. Holy cow. Looks like tuna there. Oh, okay. This is all right. So I'm gonna put this up because this is pretty good. These are sort of goofy looking fish. I mean, to be honest. Look at this goofy, like that big old mouth. Look at those things. They don't even look real. I wonder what they taste like. All right. Kangaroo, you'll have to let us know if you've ever caught a swallowtail, and if you've ate one. I have to know what they taste like. I mean, I'm sure they taste like fish, but look at that one. That is not... Is it? Yeah. Man, they look like they're in the same species as bass, or similar to bass. Let's see. All right, so here's something from Sport Fishing Magazine. I'm going to read about it here. Oh, there's a tiger shark. What? Ooh, man, I don't know about catching eels. I think that's an eel. Or is that like a wormfish or something? Red band fish is what they call this. Yeah, wow, look at that. It has gills. It is definitely not an eel. It is a fish. It's a cephalidae. Cephalidae. Because of its relatively small eye compared to others in its genus. There's such a spectacular looking. Very little information on ichthyology literature. Very intriguing. It's a burrowing fish living in vertical burrows dug into sand or mud habitats. Oh, here we go. This looks like a flat filefish. So one of my daughters caught a trigger filefish on an offshore fishing trip. Sorry, had to stop that. Let's see. Yeah, so trigger filefish are intriguing. I'll pull this up here. And that's... Here we go. I'll put that up here. Okay, so this is a trigger filefish. And there's an iStock photo by Getty. But they have this little unicorn horn. And the funny thing is this, They were crazy about unicorns during the time, and they pulled up a trigger filefish and it had a unicorn horn. So they caught a unicorn fish. Yeah, here's a gray triggerfish. And that same fish outing off of the coast of Florida, we pulled in a Caribbean reef shark, which I intentionally was fishing for. I wanted to catch a shark, and I did, and it was 40 minutes of a fight. We brought the shark in, took some pictures, and let it go. Not intentionally trying to catch a Caribbean reef shark, just trying to catch a shark. And we just happened to pull in. Leather jackets. That's, yeah. Kangaroo. That's what a captain from another charter came up when we were cleaning, because we kept the filefish and we actually had it mounted. And a couple years later, I don't know if it's ever been sent to him or not. But all right, so Kangaroo says we do have good estuary fishing where the rivers meet the sea. Best thing in the freshwater creeks are marlin, large freshwater crayfish. You know, we do a lot of crayfishing, but now I have to look up a marlin because I've never heard of that. Now I want to go fishing in Australia too. Are they really this blue? Are they blue all the time? King George whiting. Nanny guy. Great eating on swallowtails. Interesting. I don't know if you've ever caught bass in freshwater or not, but they look like a smallmouth bass, the way that their mouth and their jaw is. Alright, so I'm going to put this up here so that you guys can see this too. I pulled up marlin crayfish. I think that these are probably blue marlin native pet. I don't know about having a crayfish. Hey, I mean, whatever floats your boat. Here's another. This looks like a big, gnarly one. But down in Louisiana, they're it's really, really popular to have crayfish boils, and they just toss a bunch of crayfish in with I don't know, potatoes, onions in a boil with a bunch of seasoning. We're talking these are heavily seasoned. Oh, so here's a picture of somebody cooking these things. So do they taste like lobster, I wonder? And when you're eating crayfish, those crayfish in particular, do you stay away from the head? Because crayfish in the U.S., if you get into the upper body, into the head, it is just awful tasting. And there's some people that eat that like it's a delicacy. I'm just like, no, it's not worth it. Let's see here. Oh, I'm waiting for Kangaroo to respond. I'll look up some more here. What else does he say? So the whiting, King George whiting, I've had before. I think a lot of people have and don't really know it. Yeah. Here's a good picture of some. They look similar to bonefish almost. I wonder if the fight is pretty good with these things, or if they just sort of plank in. They look like they might be more of a fish that you sort of just drag in. Here's an underwater shot of one. How to catch King George whiting. Oh yeah, so they look like they're sort of a bottom feeder, the way that their mouth is turned down. So you do a lot of bottom water fishing, I'm assuming, for these. And predatorial type fish will have a different, yeah, oh yeah, they definitely, oh, they're clam eaters, aren't they? They got a hook bill. Yeah. Kangaroo Island TV says that they are blue in color normally, but not that dark. So I think that was probably photoshopped a little bit. And yeah, so, crayfish in the States are similar. They have a little more, I don't know how to describe the flavor. They do taste a little bit like lobster, but they're not the sweet flavor like lobster that you get. Like red Maine. So they're just a little more bitter, almost. And yeah, you cut them in half to grill them. Yeah, but these definitely look like they are clam eaters. With the way that their mouth is. What kind of... It looks like somebody got the guts there. They are fighters. A Cook Islands, a Christmas Island, that would be really cool. I haven't fished outside of the United States except for Canada, but that doesn't really count. So, bonefish, I don't see, you missed out on. So here is flyfish guanaja. So a good friend of mine, kangaroo I was talking about earlier, his name is Brownie, Steve Brown, but everybody in the guiding world calls him Brownie. He started this fly fishing resort off of Honduras, out on Guanaja, and they call it the Faraway Cays, off the Mosquito Coast. And here's some of the pictures of this. This is insane fishing. And the bonefish fishing is what they're primarily seeking out there. Let's see here. So this is here we go. I'm going to pull up this. Yeah, these are the pictures. I wish they had better photos. It's so small. All right, so this is the lodge. You have a private restaurant. You have, there's staffed to have, I think, like 6 people per person on staff. And day trips. I wonder what the all-inclusive fly fishing package is. The Faraway Cays, let's see here, is, gosh, they used to have their price on here. Oh, here it is, $13,500 US per person. So it's a little bit spendy. So this guy right here is one of the lead guides down there, and Brownie taught all of them down here how to guide. That's actually Steve right there. That's Brownie in the middle. Oh, nice. I'll have to watch that. I'll get on your channel and watch some of those. Yeah, then permit. These are permit. Here's some good pictures of permit. If they didn't, none of them. Oh, there's a good size. Now you can see the size of those things. Never ate permit. That's another fish I haven't. But they're using crayfish lures on this here. And this is all fly fishing. Do you do any fly fishing over there, Kangaroo? And bonefish. The bonefish fishery here is, it's I would say second to none. It's insane. Let's see. I'm going to pull up the Cook Islands. Wow. All right. Let's go to Travelers Worldwide. South Pacific off of or near New Zealand. Best time, the dry season from April to June. That's when they say tourism is low. So it must be a tourism hotspot in the winter. Sort of like Florida and going south in South America and Mexico is in the U.S. July to August is the peak tourist season, it's saying. Yeah, so that is your winter. Okay, so yeah, during your winter months, very busy with tourism, huh? Oh, all right. Getting some fishing destination ideas together. It's going on the bucket list. I think that is definitely a place to go fishing. So, I'll let you know when I'm going to head out that way. Maybe you can meet up. Oh, you were in the States. Wow. Yucambane River? Let me see that. I'm going to pull that up now. Yeah, it comes right. Oh, wow. It's a river in Australia. Oh, look at those brown trout. Wow. Yeah, that's a broody male here. You can see that hook bill under this. So just like salmon, they are salmonid, but they'll grow these hooks. Yeah, see, this would be considered gold medal trout in the States. Those are really, really pretty. That's a female. Yeah, they have a really nice orange to them. That one's a good colored spotted brown, it looks like. There's some bend. This is the river itself. So what kind of other wildlife do you see when you're out in that? I can't imagine fly fishing with kangaroo around. That would be insane. I've always been a little bit fearful of red kangaroo, to be honest. You know, I have a good understanding of a lot of wildlife. I spent a lot of the time in nature growing up, and still, you know, bear hunting, mountain lion hunting. You know, it's interesting. In Colorado, you actually have to have a special license to go mountain lion hunting, but I got mine for abatement purposes to help a friend of mine from Estes Park. He would go after predatorial mountain lion that were encroaching into messing with people's pets and messing homes and whatever else. And every now and then, it isn't anything to be. I'm not a hunter of mountain lion at all. It's more of an abatement thing. But I'm sure that you guys have similar types of things. It looks like, from this picture here, it looks like it's hot and cold fly stream. Huh. This is really beautiful country. Yeah, that's a nice looking female brown there. Not quite broody, but that's going to be a big boy if it made it back to the water. Alright, here is a fishing map. Let's see where this is. Alright, so Canberra. Oh, that's a cool statue. Must be the biggest trout in Australia right there. And Adamnabi. Anglers Reach, Providence Port. Oh, do they have multiple sculptures like this? You see, I've never caught a trout on a Rapala, to be completely honest. I've gone fishing for trout all over the country, all over the U.S., and I've never tried to pull out a Rapala and catch them. We use, every now and then people would use these, what we call MEPS. Let me see here. MEPS spinners. Yeah, just like that. Kangaroos, wombats, tiger snakes. Oh, man. Now, that doesn't look fun. Are they related to... Oh, man. Stan Gorton brown trout. All right. Hey. Nice looking fish. It looks like it. That one looks like it was beat up a couple times. It looks like it had been in a fight. Right there in the scales. Am I wrong? Looks like you caught it on a humpy. It might have just been the camera angle on that one. I don't know, those scales look like they were beat up a little bit. Let me see here. Yeah. So we talked a lot about, a little bit of my history in fishing and growing up. If you ever, when you were in the States, or did you say that you were in this U.S. prior to moving to Australia? I don't remember exactly what you said. Let's see here. You did move from the States, yeah. Oh, yeah, nymph droppers with eggs. Yeah, they like eggs. Well, let's see where this takes me. So did you write for Bega District News? Yeah, it looks like you did. Photos from a session. Yeah. So that's cool. You have another fellow freelance writer. Maybe you do it professionally, but Oops, I put that in the search bar instead. I don't know why the hook didn't work there, but yeah. No kidding. Boulder. Oh, I think you said that. Spent a couple of years in Alaska. Yeah, so we were in Estes Park. I think we actually talked about this before. Shauna and I were both from Estes Park. Oh man, all this searching the internet for fishing is making me itch for fishing. Let me tell you what. Yeah. Well, let's see. We're going to be leaving here in a couple weeks to go back to Texas. I think we can, yeah, because we got to be back in Colorado by May. So yeah, I might be able to get a little bit of fishing in Arizona before we leave here. I really want to fish the Salt River in northern Arizona and see if we can, or is it the White River? I can't remember what it was. Ha! That's crazy. Yeah, I did a couple weddings in Estes Park. I saw Victor Wooten play live at the Stanley Hotel. That was that was a really awesome concert. He signed his book, The Music Lesson. If you ever get a chance to read that, it's a really, really good book. Not about music, but mostly spirituality, life, living. It's a good book, though. Victor Wooten is an extremely talented bassist. If you've never looked him up, he has a number of different things. He has a camp in, I think it's in Tennessee. I'm pretty sure that's right. I think it was Tennessee. But yeah, he takes kids out there on scholarship, and it's a music camp, mostly bass guitar, obviously. But they call him the Baca Bass. One of my favorite musicians to listen to. And we probably would have stuck around Estes Park longer, but man, the tourism there in the summer it's out of control now. They're seeing, I think, 5 to 7 million tourists a summer, and that's from Memorial Day to Labor Day in the U.S. I'm sure you remember that, but so it's so crowded up there. It's a tiny little town. You've seen it. And you have traffic that extends a few miles out of town in each of the 3 directions that you can get in and out. And there is technically 4, but and then I'm sure you remember that going into Rocky Mountain National Park, it's closed. The road is closed all winter, so the only time you can cross that way is in the summer. But in 2019, we had a really nasty fire come through, and I had 10 acres in Estes Park that was about a half a mile away from the edge of where the fire stopped. So I was extremely fortunate, but I'm concerned about the fires that have been going on in Australia everywhere. You guys have been having nasty fires down there too. But I'm sure we'll have more chances to talk fishing and other things again. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here. But I wanted to thank you all for stopping in and watching the stream with me, talking fishing. I appreciate all your input, Kangaroo. Hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, Lisk. Make sure to drop a sub, drop a like. And we'll be back on again soon. Here in probably. Well, I'm thinking tomorrow we'll be on again, and then I'll be off for a few days there, but doing some music stuff. So, I will see you all again. Hope everybody has a good day.